Hi, I'm David Knox, and I have MSA. I have a fascinating, great, astonishing, superb, wonderful, top of the line, unbelievable story for you. And it has nothing to do with MSA or me. But it does. I promise you. Okay. There was an article. So I made a video about this earlier before and had some issues come up. I'll put that in another video, but 20 minutes is too long for a video. There was a discovery for Parkinson's. It is revolutionary. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. The only way for MSA that you can not clinically, pathologically establish MSA, without a doubt, is to autopsy the brain, postmortem, after death. So how do we get around that? Well, like MSA, Parkinson's has remember the proteins, the alpha-synuclein protein, that will misfold and start spreading and misfolding other proteins, causing clumping or a culmination grouping of this protein, kind of like iron deposits in your body, like a blood clot, and it will stop these proteins from functioning in the brain, causing these symptoms that we know of as Parkinson's and MSA and dementia with Lewy bodies and stuff like that. Very severe, deadly neurological disorders. So, as they say, always you hear this, as goes Parkinson's, so does MSA. Because we're looking for the same thing, alpha-synuclein protein misfolding. But you just can't take a biopsy of the brain when you're living. Can't do that. Really bad. The Michael J. Fox Foundation. Love the guy to death. And I'm like almost in tears just to say this. Not because it means anything to me. And maybe not to you. Not right now. For those of us with MSA, probably not in our lifetime, which is short. But for those with Parkinson's starting off or in the future, this is gold. Certified platinum. There is a test where they take spinal fluid from your body, put in a petri dish, basically, and they will inject alpha-synuclein protein. Which kind? The bad kind. If you mix good with bad, right? So if you have misfolding alpha-synuclein protein already in your body, in your spinal fluid, you got a bad sample, you got a sample that's bad protein, you put good certified protein, alpha-synuclein, inside of that petri dish, and they mix. MSA and Parkinson's and like dementia is because they misfold and they spread like a disease to others. So when that petri dish gets fluorescent and lights up, 93% accuracy, you have Parkinson's. And with that test, 93% accuracy, more specific, you have a neurological degenerative disease. Again, it's very hard to isolate Parkinson's from MSA, from dementia from Lewy bodies and PSP and stuff like that. It is. You can't until after death or until these other symptoms, right? But Parkinson's and MSA are so close together, you don't know until the full symptoms have manifest themselves, or such as progressing quicker, sooner, more rapid MSA, slower, longer, and you react to carbidopa, levodopa, Parkinson's. That's really how it works. 93% accuracy, they can tell you if you have it, even if you don't know it and don't have symptoms. It's kind of like those COVID tests, but we're not gonna bash on the COVID stuff. Not in this video. let's not be too political. It's so important to be able to test for a disease, a killer disease, while we're still alive and not while we're dead. You can't help those that are dead. So using the PPMI, Parkinson's Progression Markers Initiative, where most of these studies came out, that was the sole objective, was to find a biomarker to do this test. Even those that have not that do not have symptoms of Parkinson's but are at a high risk. 93% accuracy. Oh, by the way, see, I made me some nice little MSA bracelets or whatever. I like them. It's unbelievable that we can test for that. And right now, you can get a test done that no insurance will cover. And, so there's a couple steps to get this done within 2 days. But right now, they're trying to get this test into a blood draw or a nasal swab, something like that. So I don't want to prolong it. But if you can test for misfolding alpha-synuclein protein that causes like Parkinson's and MSA, now you can, which is unfortunately after death is when they find this out. Now you can go back before it gets going, before it gets severe. You can try to break it up. You can try to pause it, stall it, even prevent it. You go to different biology stages of the onset, the stages of can't think of the word, but of getting the disease. All the money has been into how do we detect it? Kind of like MSA and Parkinson's, right? I mean, a DAT scan was the only one that you can really use. I mean, the genetics test is all over the place. We only know what the genes that mutate from what we know post-mortem. But a lot of people have other issues, so a lot of genes have mutated to other things. So those tests are good, but they're not great. There is no test above 90% for neurodegenerative diseases, and yet you have one today, now. You can't fight what you can't test for, right? COVID test kits were 50% accurate, a lot of them. So you get one, it's clean. You get one, you're infected. You can't test for what you can't see. We've been going off of clinical findings, the symptoms, what you look like, what you feel like, what you smell like, right? Did you lose taste? Did you lose this or that? Walking, shaking, tremors? That's what we went by. And now we can test for it with a spinal tap right now, but for shortly, they're working on a blood draw, a blood test. It is unbelievable. They have found the biomarker at 93% of 1,123 people that did this one test with the spinal fluid. 93%. Now, the other part of that, though, is if you, so 93%, right? So 5% of the test was abnormal without Parkinson's. Nothing's perfect, right? So the test came out as, hey, you got Parkinson's, but actually you didn't have Parkinson's. I don't think you can ever get 100% in the medical field. I'm sure there's some things you can't test for, but the point is, think of all the money now. That's instead of going for a biomarker, which we have found thanks to Michael J. Fox Foundation. Now they take that money into directly going at the treatments to stop it, to slow it down, to break it up. Now they know how to test for it. How do you know if your medicine and diagnostic, if your treatments are successful if you can't test for it? Right? What are the tests for? Take levodopa, carbidopa. Do you stop shaking? Symptom-based, clinical, symptom-based. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Is it working? How do you know? You can't test for it except symptoms come and go. And symptoms do come and go. That's not an accurate test to say, oh yeah, my shaking's gone, so I don't have Parkinson's anymore. Really? That's not how that works. So, greatest of news. Again, this is just one part of the biomarker, but 93% accuracy, you can't ask for anything better than that. Now the money goes to therapeutics, to the beginning stages. We can test for it. All right, David Knox, we had you on some crazy clinical trial medicine treatments. Let's see if it worked. Let's see if you're still misfolding protein, or if it is misfolded. That's the next stage. That is absolutely great. So again, a little bit somber though, because persons like us with MSA, it doesn't do much for it right now. Our time will come and go before, these things get pushed through. This ain't Operation Warp Speed with COVID shots and stuff, and you see how unsuccessful those things were. I mean, I'm sure they saved a lot of lives, but Turns out you're more, if not more, better to be without it than to have it. It's just, so you just can't rush these things through. Otherwise, mistakes happen. And of course, I got my shots to go on cruises, cruise ships. So, I'm not knocking COVID shots in any way, but not everything can be force fed through the system. And oh yeah, we got a cure, right? And the same thing is the test for Alzheimer's disease. That it's called, what's it, amyloid is what actually develops and misfolds for them too, which causes dementia. So they're trying to test for that, right? This is crazy. What goes to Parkinson's, you can start for misfolding proteins. You can start to apply that to almost anything. It's a test, and by the way, just as a tongue twister, it is the test itself is called as alpha-synuclein seeding amplification assay. Assay with a ASSAY. So, great news and nothing but the best in the future, especially for those with Parkinson's and eventually MSA. Keep your head up or around the corner with, groundbreaking research and a way to test for it. So now we can do better trial and errors, better clinical trials, and actually see, did we make any changes to alpha-synuclein protein? That's literally what's about to happen. Okay. Love you guys to death. If you enjoy it, give me a like, subscribe, share it, celebrate it. Love you guys.